he was a little unruly.
He can be unruly. He's a super dog.
Welcome back to the channel where fandom is ageless. I am Sheila, she is Kimberly, and we are Forever Fangirls. And in today's episode, we are doing an out-of-theater review of James Gunn's Superman 2025.
Well, we did record an out-of-theater review. There was a lightning storm. I got B-roll of that, even shot sections of my vehicle, the rain. It was gorgeous. And then I realized everything was out of focus because I was using new equipment. But speaking of technical difficulties, we weren't the only ones dealing with this. No. AMC, where we saw the movie, actually had issues as well. They showed the screening. It was a 3D screening. They showed it in 2D. Mm-hmm. And I'd say about 30 to 35 minutes in, somebody stops the movie, made an announcement, and said, hey, we're so sorry. You might as well tell. It's in 2D. We're going to switch it to 3D. They then did, and it was very bouncy and like weirdly jumpy. And someone actually screamed in the theater, put it back. It's fine. And then they had to like do this weird reboot, and then we got the 3D properly. But I have to say kudos to them because they gave us free passes for another screening of whatever film we want. Mm-hmm. But that's not the important question about, what film we're going to use these for. I think the important question is, Kimberly, Sheila, did you expand your popcorn bucket collection?
Why, yes, we did. And this is for me. Look. It's a newspaper holder thingy.
It's big.
It's big. But you can put like your quarter.
Yes, it's like the old city ones where you put the coin in and then you would turn it, it opens up, and then you would get your paper and close it. But my favorite part is it has Krypto on the side. It does have Superman because, she likes Superman.
No, it's my popcorn bucket.
I understand that. I still think Krypto should have a say and be on the front.
No.
Why not?
Because it's my popcorn bucket. Just like this is my souvenir cup. That has Krypto. Krypto's already on here.
It doesn't mean Krypto can't be on the popcorn bucket.
My popcorn bucket. Just like this Superman is James Gunn's version of Superman. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, James Gunn had done interviews in the past, and he actually had said that he wanted to bring his vision of Superman to life. I actually wasn't sure what he meant by that, and I was a little nervous because I didn't understand what he was trying to do. But after seeing the film, I actually now kind of understand where he's going. So let's jump right into the positives and discuss the film. Okay, we're going to do a spoiler-free review right now. And then towards the end, we will do a spoiler version, just a tiny little bit. But we will let you know before we enter the Phantom Zone.
All right, so just jumping right into the positives. For me, the casting of Superman, I was, worried about because he's kind of larger than life, and Henry Cavill and Christopher Reeve and Tom Welling. You had all these other Supermen before, and I was concerned that David Corenswet maybe didn't have the stature. And I'm pleasantly surprised that I was completely, utterly, unequivocally wrong. He eats up the scenery and he makes Superman his own, and I loved it.
Yeah. Speaking of great casting, Rachel Brosnahan, whom we saw in Broadway.
Across from Oscar Isaac.
Yes. She ate up the stage, and she does the same thing here. She just owns all of the scenes that she's in, and I think that she is actually the perfect balance to Corenswet's Superman. Like, their chemistry is like really, really, I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, I agree. They really did play very, very well off each other, and it made their scenes much more believable. But to me, in truth, the number one positive for me, and there's a bunch, but the number one positive for me, and I do think the title of the film is wrong. It should have been Krypto and Superman, because Krypto just is everything in this film. I loved the dog. I just wanted to run out and hug him. I want the stuffy. I wanted the popcorn bucket, but they didn't have it. I loved Krypto completely, unequivocally, and it made me miss my puppy. It made me miss Sassy.
Yes, but Krypto was good as a topper.
No, I want Krypto to be on the front of the popcorn bucket.
No. No. He was a little unruly.
He can be unruly. He's a super dog.
Yeah, no. Speaking of unruly, let's talk about the villain.
Okie dokie.
Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. He actually brought a diabolicalness. Is that a word? Diabolicalness to Lex Luthor. Although I don't know that it's as good as Gene Hackman's. But I think he was pretty good. Nicholas Hoult was pretty good.
I don't have a reference of Gene Hackman because, well, we'll get into that. I'll just say that I saw a post of social media for a headline, and I don't know if it's real or not, where it said that Superman isn't woke. It's just now we have supervillains in reality. And
Yes.
so I actually took a step back and remembering how Nicholas Hoult played Lex and went, oh, yeah, I get it. And it made sense. But for me, one of the things I really loved were actually the Kents, the adopted parents. What were their names again?
Martha and Jonathan Kent.
My Superman dictionary encyclopedia person. So they just had this great, cute little foundation, and then like the dorky parental things that were just really cute. And even though they were on screen for a few moments, it really enhances the heart of the story. Yeah, which I really liked, especially because, you know, my parents are getting older, and seeing things like this kind of just warm my soul.
And I just have to say, I did not read the comics of Superman.
Okay.
Just for full transparency.
You're still the only encyclopedia I know.
Well, I just loved the 1978 film. So earlier when I mentioned that I think I now understand where James Gunn is going with his portrayal of, with his iteration of Superman, I should say. I think he's portraying Superman with a depth of humanity that we've not seen before.
Okay.
Right? So we're now seeing Superman getting angry. He's getting frustrated. He's getting sad. He wants some sexy time.
Oh my God, this is not the old guard too.
I know it's not. I'm just saying that, you know, it's showing the spectrum of human emotion.
Okay.
And it's not something that I've seen, at least how I remember, like the films and the TV shows, not to this extent.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, and okay, this is where I bring everything out in the open and come clean. I've never read anything Superman. I remember seeing the first, what year was it? Did it
1978.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it in 1978. I saw it later. But I remember seeing the second one, and I think I might be, you know, convoluting the first with the second and the blah. I never liked it. Never liked Superman. I never felt like I could relate. Don't pout. I never felt like I could relate. Krypto I relate to. I couldn't relate to Superman. He always felt like he was above us, and he was so much better. And oh my God, just put him out in the sun and he's going to heal and be perfect. And he's going to fix everything. And it never felt like there was actually a villain who could stop him, because he's so strong and he's so perfect. And they presented him in a way where I never felt like I could relate to him, and I never felt like anybody could hurt him or take him down. So what's the point of watching that movie?
Okay.
So having said all of that, this is the first time I felt like I could connect to Superman, because he had people he loved. He had family. He has something to lose. He has flaws. He's just real. And he didn't feel impervious. He didn't feel better than me, even though he is. He felt like he was just like any one of us who just happens to be the strongest man on the planet.
So you know what I heard from all of that, what you just said?
That Superman is within all of us, and that we have inner strength, and we have our humanity, which makes us ridiculously powerful.
No. We need to do a review and a reaction to the original Superman of 1978. Yes.
But we just saw but I just said,
happy wife, happy life.
Yes, dear.
It is done.
Yes, dear.
Okay. So now then, shall we go into the negatives?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. So for me, and this is a very big one, because it felt like this film was a tale of two halves. The first, we both agree, was terrible.
Yeah, when they actually switched from the 2D to the 3D, I remember leaning over to you going, I don't like this very much.
Nah, I concurred. Because I was not enjoying myself at all. At all. And then, you know, it just felt disjointed. Like there was no start to it. They didn't know where to start, and so they just threw you into the middle of it.
Yeah, and for me, somebody who, again, does not know anything about Superman, I was lost. I didn't understand why certain technological advancements were there. I didn't understand who some of the characters were. I didn't understand why Lex was where Lex was, because my understanding of Lex was different. And I know this is a new iteration, and I know this is more comic heavy. A lot of the reviews and things I've been hearing is that the comic book fans are absolutely in heaven with this. And this is where I also have a problem, though, because this is a mainstream film, right? So the issue with superhero movies is you've got to have enough for the comic book or the lore fans to be happy, but you also have to have enough where people who have no knowledge are also entertained and really want to get there, because you want them to come along and join the ride. You want them to be involved. And I felt so alienated in that beginning half that part of me was like, why am I even watching this movie? I don't get it. I'm lost. And I felt like it completely wasn't for me. And, this is somebody who can find positives in anything. And the first half to me was just, like you said, disjointed and jumbled and messy and foggy. And I just couldn't get into it at all.
Yeah, as you were talking, I'm actually thinking about certain movies where in the beginning, there are just like these little pieces that are innocuous, right? And you don't think anything of them. And then as the movie goes on, those pieces come together very nicely and form like a full puzzle.
Yeah.
Like Conclave.
Great movie.
Was excellent at that.
Yeah.
Here, it's like all of those clues are just right in your face, but it just didn't come together very well.
Yeah.
And it just, it was just a big jumbled mess.
And on top of that, for me, the supporting cast, like I don't know much about them except what I've watched on Legends of Tomorrow and Melissa Benoist's Supergirl. So I really don't know who they are, what they are, and whatnot. I did see the Green Lantern movie, so I had an idea.
Okay.
But, it felt like they were there not to support the main nucleus of the trio, but to support the script and get it from point A to point B in the first half. And in the second half, yes, Krypto Fetch. In the second half, it felt like they were actually supporting. So they weren't carrying or getting the story to move. They were actually just supporting the main characters who were moving the story along. And they didn't need to drive it, if that makes sense.
As supporting characters are wont to do.
Yes.
Yes.
Continuing that theory, though, I also have to say that the humor aspect, sometimes it landed. What I call the James Gunnisms, some of those jokes landed, and I'll admit I laughed in the theater, but some of them were awkward, and they were usually like this really emotional sequence, and then you have a joke, and it was like, that really didn't land.
Yeah.
So that was slightly off-putting to me. And again, that goes to the first half versus the second half.
Yes. And so I agree. Now, how about let's talk about a couple of things that could be described as divisive.
Like everything we've discussed so far isn't divisive?
Well, these two might be like really special.
Oh, okay.
So I'll start.
So we're in the Phantom Zone trouble section.
Maybe a little bit.
Okie dokie.
So, for me, the suit is still a problem. I can't get with the suit. Not that, I like the fact that, it's back to canon where the undos are on the outside, and color is back.
Okay.
Right? But the suit was just ill-fitting. And for me, you're a superhero. You're Superman. You're supposed to have like a good fitting suit, and it wasn't. He looked better as Clark Kent in his street clothes than he did as Superman.
So, I didn't really care much about the suit. Like, I have no connection. So for me, the suit doesn't matter. I understand your point, though. It was like some spots were like bulky and thin. But it didn't faze me. What actually fazed me is the CGI. Because those shots of him flying where the camera just felt like it was a weird, the head was huge and the bang.
Like in the trailer.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it. And there were other scenes where he's up and flying and doing it. It looked fake.
Uh-huh.
And then you had these scenes that were just perfect. And so when you see those and you're like, oh my God, and it looks real, and you're like, eyes wide, like, whoa, and then you get I think they relied on it too much for certain sequences that could have been different angles and cuts. So for me, that was off-putting.
Yeah, I agree. They're awkward.
Okay, so on that note, because Superman is your jam, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
What are your final thoughts? And out of 5 stars, what would you rate it?
So I have to say that I am relieved.
Okay.
Right? Because I was really afraid of what this film was going to be. Now, that said, I still hate the first half. But the second half definitely redeemed the film for me.
Okay.
And so because of that, I am going to rate this as a 3.5 out of 5.
So I actually was going to lean a little bit less.
Okay. Like a 3?
Around a 3, because of the fact that the whole first half of the movie I felt completely alienated and lost. However, listening to you speak this entire time and hearing the nostalgia in your voice and that exuberance and excitement, it makes me understand that maybe if I had seen a little bit more or understood a little bit more, I would have enjoyed it better. So I will concur with you that it's a 3.5 because, again, the second half I think was phenomenal. Beyond all that, though, I am accustomed to the DC Universe films not doing well. And I've kind of been like, DC, You know, when Marvel doesn't have a good movie, you're like, whoa, okay, why is Marvel not doing well? When DC doesn't have a good movie, I've always been like, oh, it's DC. This has given me really, really amazing hope that we're going to have great films coming out in regards to the DC universe. And I am excited for them. I'm excited to learn about them. It kind of makes me want to get into the comics to learn the lore of all these different characters beyond just what I know from Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, the TV series, and Melissa Benoist's Supergirl. I want to know more. So I'm excited for that. And that also, you know, kind of helps me bolster up to the 3.5.
Okay.
Now, that being said, this is where we're jumping into the Phantom Zone, and we are going to be discussing a spoiler. Just one. You know, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's one spoiler, but it's something that we actually both discussed, both didn't like, and there were people around me who also voiced their displeasure for it.
Yeah, so if you don't want to hear, just pause.
Just leave. Okay, so this is going to be all me? Are you going to? Okay. We meet Supergirl at the end of the movie, and it turns out Krypto is her dog, which I totally did not know.
I did not either.
It was Krypto's amazing. Anyway, here's the issue I have with it. Over the course of the film, Lois Lane is ridiculously smart. Eve is ridiculously smart.
Even though she acts ditzy.
Even though she acts ditzy, she protects herself and knows what to do. And Lois Lane actually is going into the story and she holds her own. And although she can't physically, you know, take down Superman, she goes toe to toe with him. You know, she goes toe to toe with who is the dude? Mr. Terrific?
Yes.
Yeah, all of them. She literally is so smart and so powerful. And both of those women throughout the entire film showcase how strong they are. Of will, of mind, and how they use that to do what's right.
Of inner character.
Yeah, they have inner character. And then we meet Supergirl, and she crashes into the Fortress of Solitude. And then Superman makes an offhanded comment of, yeah, she likes to party on planets with a red sun because she can get drunk.
Yeah.
And she's ditzy, and she's presented as this fool. And again, I don't know what they're doing with the movies. I don't know how we're going forward. I don't know what his plans are. But the way this was presented, I wasn't happy because it was very disappointing and in some way felt a little bit disrespectful to the strong female characters he had already created.
Yeah, I agree. It was just very disappointing.
Yeah, it was somewhat off-putting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that was really our only spoiler there. But, I know Mr. Gunn, my wife said it was disappointing, and I said it was kind of off-putting, the whole Supergirl thing. But if I could make a request, I would really love a Krypto movie, or maybe even like a Krypto series, because I think the dog is just amazing, and he eats up scenery, and really and truly, he carried this film, in my opinion. So it should have been Krypto and Superman.
No. Supporting.
Krypto and Superman. It's
Supporting.
puppy power, okay?
Supporting.
Right. Anyway, that is going to do our show for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to our out of theater review. I hope to have the tech issues sorted so that I actually have our video in focus next time. But in the meantime, I would love to know, what do you think I should watch? What do you think I should read or, use in order to educate myself on the Superman lore? Yes, honey, I know, 1978. Also, let us know if you're going to be seeing the movie, if you like the movie, and don't forget to like and subscribe. So if we do some reaction videos of me watching all of your recommendations, you can see how I've reacted to it, how I reference it, and if it maybe fills in gaps for me in the beginning so that I like the first half more.
Maybe. But until next time, stay safe, be kind, and remember, no matter what's going on outside of your door, never lose your humanity. Because that is your greatest strength.
And Krypto.
Really?
Krypto is a great strength. So adopt, don't shop.
That I agree with.